Hello everybody, my name is Roshini Vinod. Today we will be dealing with another doctrine, which is doctrine of piercing the corporate veil. Before going forward with respect to the doctrine, let us see what a corporate veil is. So basically, corporate veil separates the company with its members, shareholders, or employees. So there is a separate legal existence as far as a registered company or a public limited company is concerned. Now, this is not applicable for unregistered companies. So, this privilege or this advantage is applicable only for those companies that has a separate legal existence, or we can say that these companies have those companies that are registered, they have this privilege of corporate veil. So, there is a veil between the company as well as its members. So, what happens is that in certain circumstances, when the court feels that the shareholders or the members or the directors are doing any forgery or fraud, or they are misusing this particular privilege of corporate veil, then this corporate veil is lifted, or we can say it is pierced. So there are two terms, there are the two ways this doctrine is addressed. It is either doctrine of piercing the corporate veil or doctrine of lifting the corporate veil. So let us look at this in detail. Now, look at the meaning of the particular doctrine. The separate personality of a company is a statutory privilege and it must be used for legitimate business purpose only. Where a fraudulent and dishonest use is made of the legal entity, the court will break through the corporate shell and apply the principle or doctrine. So, this particular principle or doctrine is known as doctrine of corporate veil or doctrine of piercing of corporate veil or lifting of corporate veil. So, the advantage behind corporate veil or separate legal existence can be utilized only for those businesses that are doing legal business or legitimate business. So they cannot be doing any misconduct or fraud behind the banner or under the banner of the company. Now there are certain exceptions to this rule. So what are the different situations by which the corporate veil shall be lifted is what we'll discuss next. So, when the corporate veil has been used for commission of fraud or improper conduct, then the corporate veil shall be lifted. So, if the court is convinced that the purpose by which the company has been formed or the company is operating in such a way in order to cover any improper conduct or fraud that is happening in the company, then the corporate veil shall be lifted. Now, number two, if the corporate facade is really only an agency instrumentality. Now, the face of the company, when an outsider looks at a company probably may be registered in a particular country, say India. But when you look inside the company, the majority shareholding will be in the hands of, say a foreign national, or to be specific, say an American. So you cannot purely call that particular company an Indian company just because it is registered in India, but if at all there is any issue, there is any discrepancy, this corporate veil shall be lifted and it will be treated as an American company itself. Now, the third exception would be if the conduct of the company conflicts public policy. So again, when whatever the conduct that the company is having, or whatever operations that is going on in the company is against the public policy, then also the corporate veil shall be lifted. So there can be situations wherein, at war times, suppose the company would be an Indian company, but then the board of directors or majority shareholders in the company would be, say people belonging to a nationality of an enemy country. So in that case, in order to protect the public policy, the corporate veil shall be lifted. Now the fourth case will be the sole purpose for which the company was formed in order to evade the taxes. So as far as an individual is concerned, he would have to pay tax. Now, even if it's a company also, there is a large income, the company also would have to pay tax. But there can be situations wherein, in order for an individual to evade tax, he would transfer the entire funds to a particular company or form a company just so that he can escape the tax. So in such cases also, corporate veil shall be lifted. Now, the sole purpose for the formation of the new company was to use it as a device to reduce the amount to be paid by way of bonus to workmen. So, again, if there are any statutory payments that has to be paid to employees or workmen, just in order to evade that, if there is another company, a new company has been formed for this purpose, then also corporate veil shall be listed. That's all for today's session. Thank you so much.